because when your back's against the wall, human beings tend to think about those things that are the most important at home and kids and life in general.
At 62, Robin Gibb, the legendary voice behind the Bee Gees' timeless hits, has finally opened up about a revelation that fans have long speculated about. Recognized as one of the greatest talents in the world, and for the life work he accomplished with his brothers, Robin's life included both extraordinary achievement and profound personal struggle. In this video, we'll uncover what Robin Gibb has confirmed, diving into the truth behind the rumors. However, first, let us dive into how Robin and his brothers invented the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees formation. The Bee Gees, one of the most iconic pop groups in music history, were formed by brothers Barry, Robin, and Maurice Gibb. Their early life laid the foundation for their future success, marked by musical talent and familial support. The Gibb brothers were the children of a father and a mother couple, Hugh Gibb and Barbara Pass. Hugh was a professional musician who played drums in different places in England and Scotland. He met Barbara at a dance hall in Manchester, and they married in 1944. Their first child, Leslie Barbara, was born in 1945. Barry Allen Crompton Gibb was born on the Isle of Man on September 1, 1946, and was preceded by twins Robin Hugh and Maurice Ernest on December 22, 1949. The family's musical environment was rich. Their father's involvement in music significantly influenced the brothers' early interest in performing. The Gibb family lived in Chorlton-cum-Hardy, Manchester, where the brothers began to explore their musical talents. Barry received his first guitar as a Christmas gift when he was 9, which further fueled his passion for music. By the late 1950s, the brothers formed their first band, the Rattlesnakes, which they performed locally. They initially gained attention for their harmonies after a spontaneous performance at a local cinema when their planned lip-syncing act fell through due to a broken record. Their first professional gig took place in December 1957 at the Gaumont Cinema. Nevertheless, childhood was not without difficulties, as they were a notorious juvenile offender with petty crimes such as burglary and arson. In 1958, in search of a wider range of opportunities, the Gibb family moved to Australia. The move was critical, as it enabled them to perform on a greater scale and gain new market exposure. While on their way to Australia, they entertained others aboard the ship. Upon arriving in Australia in August 1958, the Gibb brothers quickly adapted to their new surroundings. They moved to Redcliffe, Queensland, where they performed at local venues and built fans. Their father then took over as their agent, taking them to gigs and advising them on how their act should be improved. Their debut single, 3 Kisses of Love, 1963, saw them break into the music business and get into the top 20 in Australia. They hosted a weekly television show that showcased their talents and released their first single, Spicks and Specks, which became a hit in 1965. They even got their own television program on Brisbane's ABC channel. The trio's unique sound, characterized by their harmonious vocals, was influenced by British rock acts like the Beatles. Their big splash happened when Australian pop star Cole Joy noticed their ability and arranged a recording contract with Leiden Records. This partnership marked the beginning of their professional music career under the name Bee Gees, derived from the initials of their family name as well as those of 2 local promoters. Despite their success in Australia, the Gibb brothers were inspired by the British invasion of rock bands like the Beatles, and felt a strong desire to return to England to pursue broader opportunities. They returned in early 1967 to Britain, hoping to crack the international music market. When they landed, they signed with Robert Stigwood's management company, Nemes Enterprises. Stigwood saw their possibilities and began to train them for stardom. Formerly Wee Johnny Hayes and the Blue Cats, the brothers later became known as the Bee Gees, derived from Brothers Gibb. They began to develop their unique sound, characterized by intricate harmonies and melodic compositions. New York mining disaster. 1941 was their biggest hit in England, and demonstrated the band's capacity to mix the pop sound with profound ideas. The Bee Gees became a hit nation with singles Massachusetts, To Love Somebody, and I've Got to Get a Message to You. A unique sound evoked a resemblance to the Beatles, which in turn enhanced their status in the music business. Robin's distinctive vibrato lead vocals were a hallmark of their earlier hits, while Barry's falsetto became prominent during the disco era. The late 1960s marked a significant turning point for the Bee Gees as they began experimenting with different musical styles. They moved away from pop ballads to incorporating rhythm and blues influences that would eventually lead them into disco territory in the mid-1970s with their 1975 album Main Course, which included the singles Jive Talkin' and Nights on Broadway. This album introduced a new sound characterized by rhythmic grooves and sophisticated arrangements that appealed to a broader audience. The success of Main Course set the stage for their legendary contribution to the disco genre. The Bee Gees reached unparalleled heights with the release of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack in 1977. The album went on to sell more than 40 million copies worldwide and featured the classic songs Stayin' Alive, Night Fever, and How Deep Is Your Love, etc. This soundtrack not only solidified their status as disco kings, but also played a pivotal role in defining the disco movement globally. Their distinctive blend of pop and disco went a long way to make the genre popular, paving the way for the next generation of musicians. The capacity of the Bee Gees to make catchy tunes with attractive harmonies set them apart in that period. Receiving 5 Grammy Awards for their hit album Saturday Night Fever, including an Album of the Year award, cemented their position in music history. The Bee Gees, renowned for their tight vocal arrangements and collaborative songwriting, significantly contributed to the careers of other artists by writing and producing hits for them. Their collaboration with Diana Ross's Chain Reaction and Kenny Rogers' Islands in the Stream showed the breadth and the scope of their impact way beyond their own releases. Thus, this success further led to the Bee Gees becoming one of the best-selling musical artists of all time, with over 220 million records sold worldwide. Their influence on music was so great, it earned them the sobriquet of Britain's first family of harmony, and they were placed in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. Challenges the Bee Gees faced. However, the path to fame was not without challenges. Upon their arrival in Australia in 1958, the Gibb brothers faced stiff competition, particularly from the Beatles, which overshadowed their early singles like 3 Kisses of Love and I Was a Lover and a Leader of Men. Although they found some success, the pressure to compete with the rising British invasion led to frustration and uncertainty. In 1967, they returned to England with hopes of breaking into the international scene. They were marketed as suitable opposition to the Beatles, and although their song New York Mining Disaster 1941 achieved moderate success, maintaining momentum proved difficult, and tensions within the group began to surface. As fame grew, so did personal conflicts. Robin, in particular, struggled with stress and anxiety, leading to health issues, including a nervous breakdown in 1968, just before the group's first U.S. tour. Exposure to this incident demonstrated the traumatic personal cost of fame and the continuous pressure imposed on him. Internal conflicts also developed, notably between Robin and his eldest brother Barry. Robin felt sidelined by Barry's increasing prominence as the group's frontman, a perception exacerbated by their manager, Robert Stigwood's apparent favoritism towards Barry. These tensions led to feelings of jealousy and frustration, particularly during recording sessions. Robin Gibb's desire for creative freedom was a key factor in his decision to pursue a solo career. His frustration reached a peak when his song Lamplight was relegated to the B-side of Barry's 1st of May, a move that made him perceive his creative vision as not being completely manifested within the Bee Gees. This led Robin to explore his musical identity independently, culminating in his official departure from the group on March 19, 1969, during a recording session for Tomorrow Tomorrow. His departure, accompanied by increasing levels of conflict and personal unrest, called into question the destiny of the Bee Gees. After Robin's exit, Barry and Maurice Gibb carried on being a duo, bringing in drummer Colin Peterson and guitarist Vince Maloney to complete the sound. They recorded Cucumber Castle, released in 1970, which became the first Bee Gees album without Robin's vocals. The album contained the hit single Don't Forget to Remember, which peaked at number 2 on the UK charts, but failed to find similar success in the US, peaking at number 73. This struggle highlighted the difficulty of maintaining their previous success without Robin, and their efforts to redefine their identity resulted in a string of underwhelming singles like I.O.I.O. and If I Only Had My Mind on Something Else, which sold very poorly. Although they tried various approaches, they could not again experience the enchantment of their previous productions, which fueled an even greater sense of uncertainty concerning their creative path. During this time, Barry and Maurice pursued solo projects. Barry made a solo album that was never released, while Maurice went on to record his own music. Their separate paths caused a temporary professional split, with the brothers parting ways by December 1969. Meanwhile, Robin found success with his solo single Saved by the Bell, which reached number 2 in the UK and sold in excess of 1 million copies. The turning point came in mid-1970 when Robin reached out to Barry, expressing a desire to reunite. This conversation marked the beginning of the brothers' reconciliation. By August 1970, they finally released an announcement of their reunion and started working once more together. Their comeback album, 2 years on, included the hit single Lonely Days, which reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, allowing them to both revitalize their careers as a group and again demonstrate their power as a group unit. Yet, that rejoining of collaboration came with a wider trend in popular music, in particular the emergence of disco in the mid-1970s. The Bee Gees became associated with this style, and this resulted in a complete change to their sound. Their success peaked with the release in 1977 of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, which became a worldwide phenomenon and established them as disco immortals. However, by the end of the 1970s, the backlash against disco led to a decline in the genre's popularity, and the Bee Gees found themselves facing criticism for their association with it. This shift in public perception adversely affected their careers as disco's decline rapidly changed their musical landscape. Legal troubles that faced the Bee Gees. Adding to their difficulties, the Bee Gees continually got into legal trouble during their career. The first legal fight arose in 1969 after Robin left the outfit. Drummer Colin Peterson, who had joined the Bee Gees as part of the duo of Barry and Maurice, claimed that he had rights to the Bee Gees name, and that the Gibb brothers should not be using it without him. This dispute led to legal threats, clouding the band's identity as they navigated their new musical direction. Relationships with the Bee Gees management also resulted in legal issues. Conflict arose between himself and the manager of NEMS Enterprises, Robert Stigwood, after signing a 5-year management contract with NEMS Enterprises in 1967 when the band's popularity increased. The brothers felt that Stigwood valued commercial success even above their artistic vision, resulting in conflict concerning financial details and the progression of their careers. These problems led to discussions of the renegotiation of agreements better reflecting their songwriting and performing roles. As prolific songwriters, the Gibb brothers also dealt with copyright issues. During the 1970s, as they transitioned into the disco era, they wrote for other artists in addition to themselves. This led to disputes over songwriting, credits, and royalties, particularly when songs they wrote for others became hits. The complexities of music publishing rights often resulted in legal battles over who was entitled to royalties from commercially successful tracks. In 1979, amid the growing backlash against disco, the Bee Gees faced yet another legal challenge, a discrimination lawsuit accusing them of being part of a disco conspiracy. The suit claimed that the brothers manipulated the music market to promote disco at the expense of other genres. Although this lawsuit did not result in major legal repercussions, it underscored the volatile nature of public perception and its effect on the group's standing in the industry. Death of Maurice Gibb. The Bee Gees' challenges culminated in a profound and tragic turning point with the death of Maurice Gibb on January 12, 2003. Maurice passed away at the age of 53 from complications related to surgery for a twisted intestine following a cardiac arrest. His sudden death shocked both his family and fans, leaving a significant emotional void that altered the dynamics of the group permanently. Maurice's absence meant that Barry and Robin were left to continue their musical journey without their brother, a loss that Barry described as losing a part of himself. Robin echoed these sentiments, expressing that the loss was not just about a bandmate, but a brother with whom they had shared a lifetime of memories. The emotional impact of Maurice's passing was deeply felt by both Barry and Robin. In the wake of his death, they faced the difficult question of how to continue the Bee Gees' legacy. Although they had vowed never to break up again after their reunion in 1970, Maurice's death brought new uncertainties about their future as a group. Despite the grief, Barry and Robin honored Maurice's memory by participating in several tribute concerts. These performances, often benefiting charitable causes, were an important way for the brothers to pay homage to their brother's contributions to music and to raise funds for those in need. For example, they performed at a concert benefiting the Royal British Legion, supporting veterans and active service members, reinforcing their commitment to giving back to the community. Philanthropic activities done by Barry and Robin Gibb. In addition to their musical tributes to Maurice, Barry and Robin Gibb have consistently demonstrated a deep commitment to philanthropy throughout their careers. The Gibb brothers have long used their platform to support significant social causes. One early example of this was their participation in the Music for UNICEF concert in January 1979, aimed at raising funds for children in need across developing countries. The Bee Gees performed several of their hits as part of this global effort, which resulted in the compilation album A Gift of Song. More recently, in January 2005, Barry and Robin joined other artists under the name One World Project to record the charity single Grief Never Grows Old. This song, created to raise funds for victims of the Asian tsunami disaster, featured musicians like Boy George, Steve Winwood, and John Anderson. Through these and other charitable efforts, Barry and Robin demonstrated their unwavering commitment to using their musical talents to support humanitarian causes, reinforcing their legacy as artists dedicated to social impact. Barry and Robin's dedication to philanthropy continued in the years following Maurice's death. In February 2006, they performed together at a concert for the Diabetes Research Institute in Hollywood, Florida, one of their first joint performances since Maurice's passing. The event aimed to raise awareness and funds for diabetes research and further underscored the brothers' ongoing engagement with health-related causes. That same year, in May 2006, Barry and Robin performed at the Prince's Trust 30th birthday concert at the Tower of London, supporting an organization that helps young people overcome barriers to success. Their participation in such events highlighted their enduring bond as siblings, their commitment to their charitable efforts, and their passion for giving back to the community. However, despite the emotional and charitable work that continued after Maurice's death, the Bee Gees faced legal challenges regarding Maurice's estate and the rights to their music catalog. Disputes arose about how to manage Maurice's share of their collective work, and whether or not to continue performing as the Bee Gees without all three brothers present. The strain of these legal discussions was further compounded by the emotional toll of losing Maurice, creating a difficult and complex situation for Barry and Robin. Robin Gibb's health challenges and death. As if the loss of Maurice wasn't enough, Robin also faced his own health challenges in the years following his brother's death. In 2010, he began experiencing severe abdominal pain, which mirrored the symptoms that Maurice had faced before his passing. Robin underwent emergency surgery for a blocked intestine in August 2010, followed by several hospitalizations due to complications with his digestive system. His health struggles deeply concerned his family and fans, as it became evident that he was facing serious health issues. In early 2011, Robin was diagnosed with colorectal cancer, a diagnosis that came as a shock to everyone, given the hope for his recovery following the previous surgeries. He began chemotherapy and initially reported positive results, describing the treatment as producing spectacular results. However, despite his optimism, his health deteriorated. In March 2012, just weeks before he was scheduled to debut Titanic Requiem, a classical composition he co-wrote with his son RJ, Robin required further surgery to address complications from his cancer treatment. Unfortunately, during this time, Robin developed pneumonia, which significantly worsened his condition. In late April 2012, after suffering severe complications from pneumonia and undergoing additional medical treatments, Robin Gibb slipped into a coma. His family gathered around him at a London hospital during this critical period. Although reports indicated that Robin briefly regained consciousness, he remained in a fragile state. His extraordinary courage and fighting spirit were noted by doctors, who praised his resilience. Unfortunately, Robin Gibb passed away on May 20, 2012, at the age of 62, due to liver and kidney failure, which were complications related to his battle with cancer. His death marked the end of an era for the Bee Gees and left a profound impact on both his family and his worldwide fan base. Not only did Barry lose his brother, but the world lost one of the most iconic voices of the 20th century, signaling the end of the Bee Gees' collaborative musical journey that had spanned decades. In the wake of Robin's death, tributes poured in from fans, musicians, and peers, all celebrating his immense contributions to music as part of the Bee Gees. His distinctive vocal style, harmonies, and songwriting abilities were widely regarded as integral elements of the group's success and sound. The emotional and creative bond the brothers shared was clearly reflected in their music, and Robin's loss was felt deeply by the music world. With Robin's passing, Barry Gibb became the last surviving member of the Bee Gees. The deaths of both Maurice and Robin left Barry with the heavy responsibility of carrying forward their musical legacy alone. In interviews following his brother's death, Barry expressed both the honor and the emotional weight of maintaining the Bee Gees' legacy while dealing with the deep sense of loneliness that accompanied the loss of both siblings. Despite the personal heartache, Barry remained steadfast in his commitment to honoring their shared history through music. Barry continued to uphold the philanthropic legacy that the Bee Gees had established. He remained involved in various charitable events and initiatives focused on health research, particularly cancer research, following his own health challenges. His ongoing contributions to humanitarian efforts reflect the values of compassion and community support that were integral to the Bee Gees' ethos during their time together. What Robin John said about his father. Robin's passing in 2012 had a significant impact on his family, especially his three children, Spencer, Melissa, and Robin John, RJ Gibb. RJ, born on December 15, 1983 in Miami Beach, Florida, grew up in a musical environment, heavily influenced by his father's success with the Bee Gees. Robin encouraged RJ to pursue music on his own terms, offering him opportunities to join him in the studio and on tour. This allowed RJ to develop his own artistic identity while still being connected to the family legacy. After his father's death, RJ worked to carve out his own career in music. In 2012, he collaborated with Robin on a classical composition titled Titanic Requiem, a project that celebrated the centenary of the Titanic disaster. This piece not only showcased their musical talents, but also reflected the strong father-son bond they shared. RJ's music has since evolved, with releases like Lose Control, a modern pop song that blends his own style with the musical heritage of his family. RJ has expressed pride in carrying the Gibb name while also striving to make music that resonates with today's audiences. Spencer Gibb, born in 1972, is Robin's eldest son. Like his brother, Spencer has pursued a music career but in a different direction. He has performed with various bands, most notably the Gibb Collective, a group that celebrates the music of the Bee Gees while also creating original works. Spencer has maintained a lower profile compared to RJ, but he has frequently reflected on his father's legacy and the impact that Robin's music had on his own journey as an artist. Melissa Gibb, born in 1970, is Robin's only daughter. While she hasn't followed her brothers into a musical career, she plays a significant role in preserving the family's legacy. Melissa remains involved in family matters and has honored her father's legacy in her own way. She has spoken fondly about Robin's deep commitment to both his family and his music, reflecting on his love for them even in the face of personal challenges. The passing of Robin Gibb deeply affected all three of his children, as they each navigated the grief of losing their father. Robin John, in particular, shared intimate details about his final moments with his father, describing how he cradled Robin's head during his last hours. Despite the challenges of living under the shadow of a musical legend, RJ has expressed pride in his father's legacy and works tirelessly to keep his spirit alive through music. He has even begun working on new projects, including unreleased collaborations with Robin and reimagined Bee Gees classics. His project legacy features songs that celebrate the Gibb family's musical history, showing RJ's dedication to honoring his father's memory. Robin Gibb's extramarital affairs. In addition to the impact on their children, Robin Gibb's widow, Dwina, has openly discussed the complexities of their marriage, which was characterized by a mix of traditional commitment and a degree of freedom. Married in 1985, Robin and Dwina's relationship allowed for romantic interests outside their union, a dynamic that was accepted within the boundaries of their unconventional relationship. Dwina has acknowledged that Robin had affairs, including with friends of hers, and emphasized that, despite these challenges, their love for each other remained deep and unwavering. She described their bond as one of mutual dedication, transcending the complications that arose from these external relationships. One of the most publicized aspects of Robin's extramarital affairs was his relationship with Claire Yang, which began in 2001 and lasted for 8 years. Yang worked as a housekeeper for the Gibb family, and the affair led to the birth of their daughter, Snow Robin Gibb, in 2008. While Dwina initially gave her blessing to the affair, her feelings dramatically changed when she learned of Yang's pregnancy. Dwina, who had always adopted a live-and-let-live attitude towards Robin's other relationships, was reportedly furious when she discovered the pregnancy, feeling deeply betrayed by someone she had trusted. Following Robin's death in 2012, Dwina spoke candidly about the affair and the emotional turmoil she experienced. Despite the initial anger and betrayal, she framed her emotions within the context of their unconventional marriage and emphasized that she held no ill will towards either Claire Yang or Snow. She expressed that after Robin's passing, both Claire and Snow had been provided for financially. This statement highlighted Dwina's capacity to navigate the complexities of the situation with maturity and acceptance. The revelation of Robin's affair and the existence of Snow brought significant emotional challenges to Dwina in the aftermath of his death. Although she initially struggled with the presence of Snow in their lives, Dwina ultimately recognized the importance of ensuring that Snow was cared for, seeing her as part of Robin's legacy. Dwina also reflected on the profound loneliness she experienced after Robin's passing, sharing how difficult it was to cope with the void left by his absence. However, she found solace in her family, particularly through her grandson, Maxwell Robin Gibb, whose arrival brought comfort during a particularly dark period of grief. Capitol Records and its relationship with the Bee Gees' legacy. Meanwhile, the Bee Gees' musical legacy continued to be preserved and promoted by Capitol Records. On November 29, 2016, Capitol Records announced a long-term worldwide agreement with the Bee Gees to manage their extensive catalog of music. This deal included 22 studio albums, several soundtracks, notably Saturday Night Fever, compilations, unreleased recordings, and long-form audio-visual projects. Barry Gibb, the last surviving member of the Bee Gees, expressed his deep gratitude for the partnership, acknowledging the emotional significance of continuing the family's musical legacy with such a prestigious label. This deal was a pivotal moment in safeguarding the Bee Gees' legacy, ensuring that their contributions to music would remain celebrated for years to come. As part of the agreement, Capitol Records launched a comprehensive marketing and sales campaign aimed at reinvigorating the Bee Gees' catalog. The goal was to remind existing fans of the band's brilliance while introducing their timeless music to new audiences. Steve Barnett, chairman and CEO of Capitol Music Group, underscored that the Bee Gees' catalog is one of the most revered in recorded music history. Capitol Records aimed to showcase the band's exceptional contributions to music by releasing remastered versions of their works and exploring fresh avenues to engage audiences. A major initiative from this partnership was the vinyl reissue series launched by Capitol UME on May 8, 2020. The series featured 5 remastered LPs from the Bee Gees catalog, offering fans and newcomers the chance to experience their music in a classic format. These reissues celebrated the Bee Gees' musical brilliance while appealing to the growing vinyl community. Capitol also played a key role in preserving the Bee Gees' cultural legacy. The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, which sold over 40 million copies, was added to the National Recording Registry in 2013 for its historical significance. Capitol has worked to keep the Bee Gees' music relevant through digital platforms, social media, and live performances. In addition to celebrating the group, Capitol's collaboration with the Gibb family has supported Barry Gibb's solo career after the deaths of his brothers Robin and Maurice. Barry has continued to honor their legacy through new projects, and Capitol's resources help keep its music alive and influential worldwide. How did Robin Gibb's life and music impact you? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content like this. Thanks for watching.